Welcome to the NXT Podcast, your home for weekly NXT reviews and insight.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
Find all of your NXT news, recaps, and analysis right here. So with that being said, we only have one question for you.
Are you ready?
We thought so. Let's get the show started right now.
Hello, everyone. This is Memphis Mark coming to you from Mullet Manor. Oh, wait a minute. I happen to be in San Antonio today, so we're coming to you from the Rich Wolf Clubhouse, and we're going to do an NXT review tonight. It is October 11th, and you know what? I got to start off with coming out with, all right, so Wade Barrett has gone to, SmackDown, and so they had to replace Wade, and Booker T is who they put in that spot. And look, I can listen to Booker T. He has mad OG skills. So when that man talks, I know nobody knows who E.F. Hutton is, but I listen. So glad to see Booker T with NXT. Hey. So we're going to start off with Braun Breaker coming out, the champ. And, somebody kind of ticked him off last week, big body Javi. He came out and he got in Braun's face. All right. So, well, when you get in Braun's face, things happen. And so Braun showed up tonight to introduce himself, I guess, a little better to Big Body Javi. So the match, it goes pretty much like you would expect. Braun's going to throw him a lot. He's going to use a lot of, the announcers are going to reference the Steiner brothers a lot. And Braun's going to win. So, we kind of knew where this was going, but all of the action, it starts after the match. Because, right at the start of this match, JD comes out and he gives a little advice to Big Body Javi and lets him know, gives him a couple little tips there and tells him, good going there, young man. And so it doesn't work out. So JD decides to get in the ring with his white pants on and get into the ring and get into Braun's face. Well, you know what that's going to do? They are going up at Halloween Havoc with a three-way match. So Dragunov has to come out, and he has to get in there too. So all three of them are standing around, and JD's crazy, but he jumps on Braun. He jumps on Dragunov. And so he's got Braun kind of dazed, kind of in a position, getting ready to set him up. But he sees Dragunov getting ready to drop I believe it's called the tornado. And, he drops it, and it does collateral damage. And JD jumps out of the ring, and it's Dragunov standing over Braun. So, future clips coming. So, look, then we've got to go to Axiom, isn't it? Axiom Axiom and Nathan Frazier, man. And this was a heck of a match. Both of these guys are great, and they're young talent. They're trying to get them going, but they displayed in this 2 out of 3 match that they've done over 18 and a half years. But the 2 out of 3 match, it's tied up. So this is the deciding match. And hey, I kept thinking that Axiom was going to win because, man, some of his moves, you had Nathan on, like, I'm going to say the bottom rope, the second rope, something like that. He's getting ready to do a springboard off of it, and freaking Axiom comes flying out of nowhere, and it's a power bomb. He did this on a multiple occasions. He was just flying around. I mean, the kid is freaking awesome. But Nathan Frazier's getting a push. So Nathan Frazier is going to win this match. But I mean, you hate it when you think you see a turn. All right, so you're watching. Anybody that watches this, you go, oh, I can see this. I can see this coming. I know what's about to happen. And then that's the reason we enjoy wrestling, is because some writer is smart enough to go, I don't think so. So we're going to go with Nathan Frazier being the final person in the NXT North American Championship ladder match. So he is the final guy in there. So we know what's going on. So you're going to have Axiom and Nathan shake hands, and it's Nathan's time to have a little glory. And they go straight to Dragunov. He's leaving. The man the brother is trying to leave. All he wants to do is go home, but he gets confronted by Mackenzie Mitchell, that young lady reporter. And then you got Grayson Waller running up in a 1985 bad porn shirt with apparently grandma's protective eyewear. At least that's what Dragunov says. And Grayson, he has to defend himself. He has to talk the trash back. So he pretty much says that Dragunov, you're trying to leave to maybe get out of trouble for hitting Braun? Maybe. And so Dragunov was like, well, dude, I tell you what. If you think I'm trying to leave, I'll stay around a little longer, but I want a match. And he gets a match with Grayson Waller. So we're going to go from there to Sangha. Sangha is here. And he's got his little protege. And when I say little, if you look at the lockers, you'll know what I mean. If you remember the 2 tiers of lockers back in the day, she'd have a problem looking in the top one. But anyway, it's Valentina. And she just asked Sangha, hey, look, man, can you be my support and be on the outside? And he's like, of course, because Sangha is a good guy. And Sangha always does the right thing, correct? That's what we've been led to believe. But we will see how this turns out. But Sangha agrees to be her support on the outside. So, okay. Well, it doesn't get any better. What I'm going to tell you next. It's Apollo Crews. And Apollo Crews is, like I said before, is a poet that didn't know it. So he's writing in his journal, and he's reminiscing on the past matches, how he got his eye injured, and which he's not sporting the blood eye anymore, but he's reflecting on that, and he's thinking of Halloween Havoc. And he writes about it in his journal, so it's a good thing. And I'm not sure where the heck they're taking this angle. But if they're reinventing Apollo, I hope they've got a good thought process. And Grayson, Grayson's just great, man. He could be in any spot. So he is definitely ready for the big show. But anyway, after Apollo's, how do you describe that? His journal writing? You go into Valentina Faraz. She is going to take on Miss Hartwell. So you've got 2 different type of people, but you got Sangha on the outside. So she's got her support gear, and she's got her. I guess that garb she's got on is something, I guess, important. Maybe I just ignorant to that fact. But Indy Hartwell comes out, and she looks jacked. She's been in the gym, you can tell, and they're changing her whole image. and she's becoming a legit badass. And I mean, with her height and everything, she can be a little different. Look, I think she's like 4 inches taller than the referee in this match, and this poor lady. Yeah, well, it's David, versus Goliath almost in this. And look, man, she does really good tying Indy up several times and taking this match. But it starts off with just a simple tie-up, and she throws her out of the ring. And, of course, she comes flying back under the bottom rope, and it leads into like a big slam. And these are just basic moves, but Miss Hartwell is just laying it down technically. Her body slams are like legit, and she's been training and got her stuff together. But Sanga's on the outside trying to be supportive, but Veer shows up, and they both have bunny hairstyles with a little bob in the back. And they're in kind of identical clothing suits. One's in red and one's in blue, but one's about 6'8", one's about 6'6". So, But Vera comes out and whispers something in his ear like there's fresh food or Krispy Kreme just put their light on. And Sangha is gone. So this match continues on, and at one point in time, the young lady figures out that Sangha is not there. And it doesn't do a good distract in the match. I think she, notices that and signifies that, and still carries on with the match. Because this was a good match. It was back and forth. There were good submission moves done. If you're a smaller person, you've got to be adept in those kind of moves. But if you're a bigger person, you've got to know how to roll them out and how to use your strength on these camera shots to really look impressive. And at one time, there's an arm bar on Indy, and she literally picks the girl up and flings her over her shoulder. So, Indy's going to win this match, but it is a good match. And so for that, we are welcome, or we are thankful, I should say, for the NXT young talent putting on a banger spot. So, yeah, it was back and forth. The ladies are still tearing it up, but, yeah, Indy wins this one, and you kind of knew this was coming, but she did not go without a fight. So it was a good match. But after the match, you've got Pretty Deadly up in the Muffet skybox there, and they've got they're in just leather pants with the belts, and one's wearing a I guess I'll call it an SEC hat. It's a hat with 2 cans of beer and the straw set up. Everyone knows that. And the other gentleman's wearing a very large cowboy pink hat. Okay. Visually, you got this now. And so they are, of course, demeaning everyone below them because they are perfect. And these guys do put on a good promo, man. It had everybody in the audience stopping and looking. So if you have all the attention, if you got 5,000 people in the room and you can draw 4,000 of them staring at you, you ain't doing so bad. So they, of course, go off on Hartwell, and they go on about how they're going to love watching everybody beat the heck out of each other because there is a 3-way match coming up for a number 1 contender. So you got Malik and Enof, or Ofi. I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm extremely ignorant when it comes to reading my own notes. It's pretty bad. But Enofi and Blade, man, these guys are just high flyers, and they're eventually going to get that shot. But man, I've seen them progress so much. But of course, they're going to bring them out and let them give their entrance, and it's going to lead to a commercial. So you know how that goes. Yep. If you go to a commercial, that means there's a promo coming up. So you've got Cora Jade. Of course, we all know Roxanne, who she's talking about. And they're setting something up with SmackDown midnight or a Monday Night Raw. It's always their chance to get on the main event. So they're setting something up for Halloween Havoc. Wonder who might she find? All right, so from there, after that one, of course, you've got to go straight into the triple threat tag team match. So now you got Brooks and Jensen coming in there, and these are some big old corn-fed boys, man. One's 6'7", I believe, and the other one's about 6'5". I mean, they're just some big old boys. But Gacy and Dyad is in there, which I guess you could call them Schism. But anyway, they're also the third tag team in this. So, you've got a one tag team that's a little larger. I mean, Dyad's got Fowler, I believe is his name, and he's probably 6'5" or so in that range, so he can hang up there. But man, Blade and Enofi, man, these guys are just flying around the ring. When they take a punch, they have the good response. I mean, these guys have come on. And now when Dyad is great, doing great work, they have the look, and they take a good punch. They sell very well. And I was thinking Briggs and Jensen, they're going to win this. They're going to go on and have a chance at Halloween Havoc for the title. And it leads up that way. Man, they're kicking butt. They're talking trash to Pretty Deadly up there. But that seems to be a reoccurring theme, because every time somebody gets an advantage, they turn to the Muffet VIP area and they make a gesture. So this is an ongoing. All of them get a chance to do it. But, man, Brooks and Jensen are just tearing it up. But Blade and Enofi, man, they're drop kicks, and they're anything aerial that they do is just amazing. And even when you hit them with a backbreaker, Dyad hits them with a big backbreaker. Their ring positioning after that, setting up for other moves, everything is just spot on. So, I mean, these are three tag teams that are pretty impressive. I mean, seriously, I think this is definitely a match that you should go back and check out. And it's got a surprise ending also. So after all these three tag teams beat the crap out of each other, like you knew they would, and everybody's waiting for the big old boys to just pull it off. They're just definitely going to pull it off. Or maybe Dyad, because with Gacy, they can do some moves. But you got Jensen skinning the cat, running. That's running down the top rope, doing a little bit of Undertaker, what he made famous back in the day. Doing the drops off that. They do a hip toss at one point in time where they hip toss the gentleman completely over the top rope on another group. So. But in the end, you wonder, is there going to be some interference? Could there be some interference? Would there be some interference? Would you be mine? But it seems that Blade and Enofi have kind of pulled it out, and they're about to take it. But then, Dyad comes back. You got Brooks and Jensen. It's just... But, man, it's Blade and Enofi, man. They keep freaking... They're in the storyline. They're just... it's so close, and they're figuring the tags out and their motion. So at one point in time, Gacy just has had enough. So you're wondering who's going to get involved first. Well, it's Gacy. And he's going to alter the match and set it up for his guys to win. And he grabs the guy as he goes to get back in the ring. Man, I tell you what, wait a minute, let me make sure I read these notes right, because I'm terrible at notes, but I have to say, Gacy goes to grab the gentleman, which causes Cameron Grimes to come out and do a stomp, and then right about the time that I believe it's Big Fowler is getting ready to, they're getting ready to do their tag team move and win the match, Fowler gets pulled under the ropes by Cameron Grimes, which allows Blade and Anufi to roll up and pin and win the match. So, wow. I did not think they would be giving these guys a push so early, but wow. It was a great match. I do not, I can't say anything bad about the ending. Look, man, they took a butt whooping in this thing, and they looked really good doing it, and they were high flyers. And look, this could be an USO challenge on down the road. You think about it. Just think about it. All right, I apologize. I was about to cough, and I didn't want to do it in the mic, so there we go. And that's about all the editing I know how to do is to push pause. So we're going to go back with a Toxic Attraction. It's the ladies without Mandy talking about their match coming up, and Juicy Jane is going to take on I'll Be Fire. And she's going to show her that she's not in the level of Toxic Attraction. So, that they do a good little promo, and it's setting them up. But they do drop a little bit of a seed. They say that maybe they have a surprise for Alba. And we're going to start this match out. And, man, Alba comes out, of course, on fire. She's got everything lit up and got the bat, of course. And this is a pretty good match, man. They Alba tears her up most of it, but I got to say they make it look good. The writing on this and the moves, man, they had to have practiced some of this because some of the moves were surprisingly good. So, but again, apologize. They have an ace up their sleeve, Sonia Deville. So after the match, Alba's going to win the match. She's leaving on the ramp. She stops to turn to the fans, and somebody in a hoodie. It's always somebody in a damn hoodie, isn't it? But it's Sonia Deville, and she snatches her up, and they continue to whoop on her for several minutes. Now, at one point in time, they have Toxic Attraction pick her up and put her on Alba on Sonia's shoulders, and they do a legit freaking drop on the announcer's table and bust it open. Legit meaning everything went right. And then after that, of course, the girls are hanging out and savoring their victory. But then you got Schism. They come out and they're mad. They coming out the side door, and there's a cameraman out there, and they knock the cameraman out and take his camera and do their own little Schism promo. And of course, that one guy with the funny eye, he always creeps me out. But they do it, and they say that they're coming and they're not going to take it anymore. Not to reference any other song like that. But they put the camera back down, and from then, they just kind of walk away. But there's a guy in that red hoodie, another person in a hoodie. But the guy in the red hoodie is following Gacy and Dyad, or Schism. But then you're going to go to Wesley. Now, Wesley has got a match with Stax. And Stax is wanting some revenge for what happened to the Don. And so this is not an eye for an eye or nothing like it. It's a regular match, but Mr. Stax, he wants some revenge, so he's going after the knee and that lower leg area specifically to get Wesley back, to show him it's just an accident, man. So and look, he pries and he does everything in the world to Wes, and you think that he's about to pull it off, because nobody can take that much abuse on their leg. So a couple moves, a couple little slick things. Wes gets his energy back, couple good uppercuts in the corner. He's trying to get the feeling back in his knee and his leg area, so he's able to try to pull a couple moves off, but he falls down because of the damage to his knee. Well, Stacks is going to pick him up in like a torture rack and do a spin off that, and you think that's probably going to be it. Nope. Wesley, he just kicks out of that, so you know that what's about to happen. Stacks goes to the top rope where he's not familiar with, and who is familiar with that? But that it would be Wesley. So Wesley gets up on the top rope, comes off with a 890 degree fall on Stacks, and that is the match. So Wes gets back up. He can barely move, but he's happy. Everybody's happy. But Trick Williams ain't happy. Trick Williams comes in and starts throwing hands, and he's tearing it up. Now Wes gets a chance to have a little bit of a comeback on Trick, but about that time, Carmelo Hayes enters the ring, and he don't miss. So it's a beat down on Wes. They're about to really throw down on him, and then Mensa comes in, and not just a smart kid with a good GPA, but Mensa, and he kind of clears the ring and shows everybody, hey, you know what? Let's have a tag team, because he gets a chance at Carmelo, but Trick pulls him out right at the last second. So that's going to lead to a future tag team match. But before they leave, Wesley does get a chance to jump over the top rope and land on him and send them on their way. But then you go to Sonia Deville and Toxic Attraction, and she's pretty much explaining that, look, her and Mandy have had their problems, but Mandy's still her girl. So if Toxic Attraction are Mandy's girls, then they're her girls. So they're all good. You got that? Yeah, you got that. Mandy has made her appearance and her time on NXT very memorable with this comeback. And Toxic is pretty much saying that, hey, never can tell what'll happen. So, Sonya Deville shows up with a good spot. Everything looked good, but I am mad about they're just really, really hating on people with hoodies because, well, anyway. So you got Kiana James coming out. Now, Kiana is, Miss James is planning something with Chase University because she's going to go against the Real of Chase University. And they're going to have a little match here. She comes out, Miss James comes out with her briefcase and Miss Business and everything. And, of course, Chase University is going to come out raising Cain. And that's just what they do. They're all here. They're here for Thea Hale. And so it's a big match. She's ready for it. And they go to a flashback of her body slamming Mr. Strong last week. So, of course, Chase lost that match. So she's running around in the ring. She's all happy. And the match is about to start when Mr. Strong shows up. Now, Mr. Strong shows up to let him know that he's not happy about the embarrassment on, I guess, the Twitter and the Instagram. And he's a little ticked, and he ain't going to take it no more. So he goes, and he's about to show Miss Hale what it's about. But Miss Hale gives him some hail and backdrops him, sends him out of the ring under the bottom rope. And she's happy. She's doing a little Hulk pose. And Miss James does a slingshot and pins her 1, 2, 3. So, I guess Miss Hale got one side of it, but Miss James got the other side. And Chase U is shocked. So, Miss James is pretty much telling him, you didn't have a chance anyway. So, and that's going to lead to the Don and Channing Lorenzo, Mr. Stacks, having a little talk in the locker room, and the Don's not happy. The Don is not happy. And he lets him know, okay, you lost tonight. Okay, really? Okay, well, I'm going to have a match for you. And you remember that kid that cut in the line, in the food line in school. And you beat him up, and we had a big fight there. And he's like, yeah. Well, it's kind of the same thing. And Channing, Stacks is like going, what do you mean? Just tell me. And he's like, no, you'll know when the music hits. So next week, the Don is got a little surprise for Stacks. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, is it a Jey Uso kind of turn? Hey, I don't know. But we're going to go to Dragunov. Dragunov is coming in the ring with his Ric Flair robe. And he's conducting the orchestra, which is going to mean one thing. They're about to go to a commercial break. It's just the way it goes. When they come back, they're going to have Cora Jade, and they're going to have our Cameron Grimes talking. They got to have some promos. So yeah, it's going to be Cameron, and it's going to be Cora Jade, and Cora's going to SmackDown or to Raw or somewhere, but she's going to get some help, and I think it's Rhea Ripley. I think that's what she said, Rhea Ripley. So, it's a pick your poison match. So Roxanne gets to pick somebody from SmackDown, and Cora's going to pick somebody from Raw. Sounds interesting, and you got Stacks with an opposing, or a person picked to oppose him by Tony D. So, next week might not be so bad. All right, but as far as this week, we are setting up for Grayson Waller and Dragunov. And, of course, Grayson's going to come out and be Grayson, which is good. So, they go back and forth on this. Grayson plays to the crowd, of course, like nobody can. And Booker T is not so happy at times with Grayson. But the match goes on enough to where they can do a picture-in-picture. And when they come out of that, Grayson's still happy Grayson, happy Grayson. And Dragunov is taking a little bit of a whooping. He has his spurts, but Grayson has really kind of got him, for most of this match. And he does a lot of wearing down moves, but finally Dragunov gets him, kind of in the corner, and they're working their way out, and he does a little whirly-burly and does a big clothesline. And so, okay, is this great? Or Dragunov coming back? But he's had so much abuse and so much delivered to him, but he's rocked Grayson, but Grayson's still freaking, he does the little kick to the feet, and it causes you to fall, and then he immediately goes into a submission. And, I like Grayson Waller, and look, I like Dragunov too. This is a good match. This is a must-see match. If you should go back and watch this if you haven't. But Grayson eventually gets so cocky that he goes over and spins the wheel for the match is coming, and is going to jump through between the bottom and the second rope and do his famous move. But Dragunov is ready for him, and he does a couple suplexes and a couple good throws. He does a gut wrench throw with a kind of a groin grab between the legs and throws him back. Which in amateur wrestling, I remember that it was actually a very impressive move. But with Dragunov's hair up in spikes, he delivers a major a forearm or whatever to the head, and he gets to pin Grayson Waller. So look, he has come out, and he caught Grayson when he was trying to show off and do his little slide-in move. So Dragunov is for real. But then there's Braun. Braun hadn't forgot earlier in the night, and Braun comes out and reintroduces himself to him, and he's got that mean look, he's got the $1 million body, and he, of course, hits Dragunov and stands over him and tells everybody how bad he is, but over his shoulder is JD in the crowd. So when the camera pans out and NXT ends, it ends with JD smiling and clapping in the crowd like a fan, going, hey, I think I've accomplished my goal and separated the two guys. So, all right, guys, this has been a good match, man. And this whole show was actually really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time. And I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble on with it. We've kind of run a little long, so I won't get into a lot of the things there that we normally try to do. But man, I loved the way this ended with JD in the crowd. I loved it. Well, I guess we can end this show on up here. This review, I guess, is just it's about done. So I guess Memphis Mark coming to you from Rich Wolf Clubhouse in San Antonio, Texas. We're going to say good night to you. So always remember to rescue when you can, spay and neuter, of course. And this is Memphis Mark, and I'm out.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.